As if the COVID-19 pandemic wasn't already a serious enough threat, it now appears that another horror, a global economic recession, is on its way. The devastating impact of the coronavirus is spreading throughout economies, wreaking havoc on enterprises and stifling economic expansion. But what precisely does it mean when we talk about a global recession? Will it happen? And if that is the case, what preventative measures can you take to ensure your safety? Recession simply means that a country's financial resources are not expanding, but rather shrinking. The key to successfully navigating the murky waters of a recession may lie in adopting a more modest way of life. We call this frugality. To put it more bluntly, things do not look too promising. A frugal way of life is one in which you are conscious of the money you spend on a daily basis. It entails creating a plan for both your life and your finances, and then adjusting your spending so that it contributes to the achievement of those goals. There are usually ways to reduce the amount you pay and select an option that is more cost-effective while still catering to your requirements. Frugality relies heavily on intention as one of its foundational pillars. If you do not have a broader objective in mind and are simply trying to spend as little money as possible, your frugal behavior could not go very far. You need to have a plan so as to live frugally without being unreasonably hard on yourself. And we will tell you how. Hi, and welcome back to Fascinating Self. Today, we will reveal 5 frugal living hacks that you can use when a recession hits. Before we do, if you haven't already done so, make sure you're subscribed to this channel and hit the bell icon to turn the notifications on. That way, you won't miss one of these cool uploads. Without further ado, let's jump right in. Hack number 5. Set up an emergency fund. Although it is impossible to know what will happen in the future, it is always wise to plan for it. The same may be said for the management of your own finances. Your decision to establish an emergency fund is a good first step toward developing a comprehensive financial plan, the kind of plan that, with any coincidence, will enable you to effectively manage your income and cash flow, as well as provide for yourself and your household, all while making contingency plans and investments for longer-term objectives. It is a tangible approach to balancing your current demands with those of the future, which is especially important as we negotiate life after the pandemic and a likely economic downturn. The establishment of a reserve fund is critical in any economy, but it takes on a greater level of significance during a recession due to the increased likelihood of being laid off from your job. During a recession, the amount of money you ought to have stashed away in an emergency fund can vary from person to person, depending on a number of different factors. A recent piece written by the Motley Fool and published on the website of the Nasdaq said that rather than focusing on a particular sum of money, you should give greater consideration to the precise costs that you would incur. Calculating your basic monthly expenses and then multiplying that figure by at least 3 is a decent place to start. However, in times of economic hardship, it is recommended that you multiply that number by anywhere from 6 to 12. Suppose your basic bills equal $5,000 a month. To cover the critical costs for 6 months out of the year, you will need $30,000 in your emergency fund, and you will need $60,000 to cover the entire year. Hack number 4. Cancel unnecessary subscriptions and services. According to a recent study conducted by Go Banking Rates, the average amount that customers pay each month on subscription services has increased to $273, up from $237 in 2018. Customers believed they were spending less than they did in 2018, despite the fact that their spending had increased, and 100% were unaware of their true spending. According to the findings of the survey, roughly half of all Americans are currently subscribed to some form of entertainment service. The majority of respondents indicated that they subscribed to Netflix first, followed by Amazon Prime Video and Hulu. Hulu was the 3rd most popular service. In addition, items and services relating to health and wellness, pets, and dating have become increasingly popular as a result of the rise in popularity of subscription services. This demonstrates how the pandemic has altered the ways in which people spend their time and money. During a time of economic turmoil, The last thing you need is to lose hundreds of dollars due to a membership that you are no longer making use of. When viewed singly or on a month-to-month basis, the costs of a subscription service may not appear to be significant. However, over the course of a year, those costs can really add up, especially if you subscribe to more than one service, which can put a significant dent in your financial plan. Therefore, it is essential that you examine the services that you are paying for in order to ensure that you are receiving value for the money that you are spending. Therefore, it is essential that you examine the services that you are paying for in order to ensure that you are receiving value for the money that you are spending. To accomplish this, look through the statements for your credit card and bank accounts for any recurring charges. When you go through this procedure, it will help you uncover subscription services that you have signed up for but may have forgotten about or are not utilizing enough to warrant the cost of maintaining them. Hack number 3. Stick to your set budget. Your goals of spending less, saving more, and paying down debt can be easier to attain with the guidance of a well-planned budget. Making a budget that has an emphasis on living frugally will not only help you reach your financial objectives, but also reduce the amount of money wasted on things that are not essential. Evaluation of your present monthly expenditures should be one of the first actions you do when creating your frugal budget. This could be one of the most time-consuming procedures, as you will want to make sure that you are taking into consideration all of the things that require financial outlay during the course of a month. The cost of rent or mortgage, electricity and other bills, insurance premiums, and the cost of daycare, among other things, are frequently included in monthly expenses. Second, compute how much money you have left over each month after paying all of the necessary taxes and other deductions from your paychecks. Include in this any money that you get from investments or other kinds of residual income. The following step is to evaluate the efficacy of your current spending patterns by deducting your monthly expenses from your monthly earnings. If you keep up with your present spending patterns, you will see how much money you may anticipate having left over at the end of the month using this calculation. You have a few choices available to you in the event that your budget turns out to be negative. You have the option of either making more money or finding ways to reduce your expenses. It is likely more reasonable for a good number of people to cut their spending. To find out how you can earn extra income, click on the link at the top right-hand side of your screen to watch a video on 5 passive income ideas that actually work. Hack number 2. Settle your debts. There are a few routes available to take in order to escape the clutches of debt when you find yourself in a difficult financial situation. For example, debt negotiation and credit counseling. And if those two options are not enough, bankruptcy may be an option. These choices are available to put an end to your struggles with debt once and for all. But there is another very smart way to deal with your debt problems, and that is to live a frugal life. You have come to the right place if you are wanting to get out of the vicious cycle of debt and get a head start on building your financial freedom. Not only may having debt lower your credit score, but it can also have a variety of other negative effects. It has the potential to drive you completely insane. Paying off debt is a crucial step to take at any point in time, but when a recession is on the horizon, this step carries much more power than you might think it does. Because nobody wants to be caught off guard with ever-increasing interest payments in the event of an unexpected emergency, decrease in salary, or job loss, financial advisors advise paying down existing debt rather than taking on new debt. When you have outstanding debt, it indicates that you have a balance, which means that your potential access to funds for dealing with future difficulties is restricted. The so-called avalanche method is a strategy that can help you reduce your debt more quickly. This strategy entails focusing on the debt that carries the highest interest rate first and directing all of your debt repayment efforts towards paying off that debt, while only making the minimum payment on all your other debts. Using this particular strategy, you will be able to reduce the amount of money you spend on extremely high interest fees. Hack number 1. Diversify your income sources. Make sure you do not put all your eggs in one basket. Because of the inherent risk of relying solely on one source of income, you may lose your ability to meet your financial obligations if the economy falls and you lose your employment. Even if you have worked for the same company for a long time or are a seasoned professional, there is always the possibility that you will lose your job. Industry shifts, market downturns, or a personal feud can all have an effect on your career. You may protect yourself by ensuring that you have a variety of sources of income. Adding a second source of income is a time-consuming endeavor, but worth it. In order to supplement your primary income, you may want to consider picking up a side hustle such as driving for a rideshare company, working as a freelancer, or providing consulting services. If you are wondering how to make additional money while keeping your 9-to-5 work, click on the link on your screen now to watch High-Paying Side Hustles While Keeping Your 9-to-5 Job. That is all for today, folks. See you in the next one.